The nesting grounds. Leaving her mat, Deana allowed herself to enjoy the familiar click of her door closing. She turned right, joining the long queue in the zigzagged hallway for the manual elevators leading downwards. She observed a handful of males, undoubtedly there to court chosen females with likely hollow promises. These promises would shatter when they reached the life stage to attend the ball, where they would dance briefly before being drawn to a more suitable match. At the end of the dance, one would be married. No, she would make promises to no one but herself. She waited her turn for the elevator and boarded, her eyes drawn with a pang of envy to the abdomens of the other females. Their bellies were far more swollen than hers, carrying 8 times the potential she did. Their fertility was a visible wealth, ensuring their privileged lives and private doors. She shifted her attention to the elevator operator, whose arms moved with a fluid synchronized precision, with those operating the levels above and below. A safety bar enclosed him, preventing accidental contact. Should an operator falter in their rhythm, they would rely on their antennae and ears to guide them back into perfect alignment. The ride went swiftly, and soon she joined the throng of others jogging toward the nesting grounds. The great mushroom surface was marked with circular recesses, each containing sunken seats with egg-rolling slides leading to the center. Deana found an unoccupied seat and settled into it. Focusing on the stimulating sensations that had fertilized her eggs, she joined her voice with the chorus of others, spreading her legs to allow the eggs to emerge. There had been a time when her song had soared above all others within her immediate vicinity and beyond. Now her voice was lost in the powerful song of shared ecstasy. The memory of the brief pleasure that had initiated the creation of these eggs was simply not potent enough. Nearby, some males stood with aroused flesh in hand, actively stroking themselves, stimulated by the moans and groans of the females releasing their eggs. A lucky few would have the opportunity to fertilize unseeded eggs, their vital fluid streaming over the clusters, adding to the nourishment, warmth, and amniotic fluid. Already some eggs were hatching, and tiny semni with spidery legs swam towards the pool's edge, instinctively beginning their programmed duties: cleaning, foraging, maintaining structures, removing unwanted impurities and contaminants in food and water, and generally supporting mycorrhian life. While serving all, they would favor their seeder. A male's influence and wealth from the favor he received from his semni grew with each successful seeding. Deana's song ended too soon, leaving Deana in a quiet despair as the ecstatic release of the other females peaked around her. The collective moans and groans, the physical manifestations of their ecstasy, clenched fists, curled toes, hardened nipples, flung back heads, created a palpable sexual energy that fueled the hurried steps of those heading to the copulation zones. But Deana remained detached, isolated, as her thoughts remained preoccupied with the somber thoughts of her desensitized nub. Deana pushed her gloomy thoughts away, focusing instead on the platforms elevated on stilts, where the beings known as the counters resided. They were a spiny species with quilled bodies, sporting long snouts, small but strong legs, and large feet. These counters were absent from the old migration stories of their ancestors, though they seem to have always been a part of the Great Mushroom. It was plausible they predated the mycorrhians, their purpose shifting from eating parasites to meticulously counting eggs. Their minds were tireless trackers of mycorrhian fertility, logging every egg laid and every hatching, and their uncounterfeitable quills served as currency, assigning wealth. These quills regenerated instantly after being spat out, and the semni collected and distributed them as instructed. The counters perceived their existence alongside the semni and mycorrhians as utopia, satisfying their innate drives for counting and quill spitting. The availability of unhatched eggs as a food source was an especially welcome addition. Deana wished she had their unburdened happiness and comfortable lives, and this made her resolved to fight for her own. Standing, she shook off envy. Life was far too fleeting to waste on such feelings. The forest, swamp, or beach offered a path to clear her debt by gathering 100 flowers, mushrooms, or seashells. Collecting 100 of any of those items would settle her debt with extra and perhaps give her time to... what, heal? Maybe she simply needed a respite from the constant pressure and a chance for her nub to recover. The extra time could also give her an opportunity to develop a valuable skill that could enable her to support herself financially until she reached the necessary life stage for the ball. Alternatively, the dangerous allure of the factory whispered promises of immediate wealth, a tempting shortcut with deadly risks. Though it could set her up for life, the odds of surviving the factory were worse than the other 3 options. Which path should she take? You have 4 choices. Make your selection in the links below. Go to the forest to the north. Go to the swamp to the east. Go to the beach to the west. Go to the factory to the south.